On the heels of Trump's indictment, your reporting suggests more bad news for the former president. This time, his net worth taking a tumble since last fall. So, Dan, can you paint a picture for us? How did this happen?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that, Donald Trump, after he left the presidency, remember he had just been banned by Twitter, and he said, wait a second, this is a huge business opportunity. I'm not on Twitter. Everybody wants to hear from me. And so he created a company called Truth Social. The parent company is the Trump Media and Technology Group. And he launched that company in October of 2021 publicly, saying that it was going to merge with a SPAC. And investors got super excited about it and pushed the shares of the SPAC to the moon. And it looked like he had suddenly, out of thin air, created an incredibly valuable asset, even valuing his shares at $10, which is a fraction of what they were trading for on the open market. That asset looked like it was worth about $730 million, which was more than anything else in Donald Trump's entire portfolio. What's happened since is that Truth Social has flopped. Not enough people showed up. The merger that's supposed to happen with the SPAC may or may not happen at all. There are investigations from every regulatory authority that you could be afraid of, and that's slowing down the merger. In addition, Donald Trump wasn't the only one seeing a business opportunity with Twitter's banning of conservatives. And when Elon Musk purchased Twitter, it sort of rendered Donald Trump's business plan moot. Why do we need a more conservative Twitter that doesn't have bans on a bunch of conservatives when Elon Musk just got rid of all the bans on a bunch of conservatives, including the one on Donald Trump? Now, Trump himself is not posting on Twitter right now. He's still staying true to Truth Social. But nonetheless, not enough people have showed up. And it looks like, based on the number of users who have, like Donald Trump's stake is worth less than $200 million. So we estimate that it's wiped off $550 million so far, and it could go down even more.
You reported that the hype of Truth Social didn't line up with the reality, and this is based on a few factors, as you said, including Elon Musk purchasing Twitter and making it more of a conservative safe haven. So was this a bad business idea from the start, or were these a few unforeseen circumstances that really threw a wrench into Truth Social?
Well, at the very start, it was nothing more than an idea. And it's hard to say when you have just an idea whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Certainly, a lot of people got excited about it. So, by that measure, you could say that it was a good idea. But as time has gone on and it's become something more than just an idea, it's become something more like an actual business. What we've seen is that the projections that they were putting out there, what this could become, are nowhere close to what it's actually become. So, yes, they've faced hurdles, the investigations, Elon Musk, all of that. But the fundamental problem here is that if you're trying to start a social media app, you need to draw huge numbers of people onto it. And at the start, they predicted that by 2026, they would have 81 million users. Right now, they have about 5 million. And the thing's been open for more than a year. So you can do the math there that they're not going to get to 81 million. And in fact, if you look at how many they're adding right now, and the growth has started to slow in recent months, it could take them well into the next, dozens of years before they got there. And so ultimately, what you're looking at is, okay, this is not going to be what they projected it to be. And then you have the question of, with this tiny social media company, can you even produce enough revenue to pay for your expenses? And that's ultimately going to be what determines whether this thing is just a tiny blip on the radar in terms of Donald Trump's overall fortune, or whether it's a zero and the thing goes out of business.
You mentioned that the merger between Trump Media and Technology Group, which owns Truth Social, and another SPAC might not happen. Why is that?
Well, first of all, it was supposed to happen, relatively quickly. But all of these investigations have basically held things up. And so as a result, the SPAC has had to now extend the date by which it was going to merge 3 times. And it still could do it a 4th time. But eventually you run out of the number of times that you're allowed to keep extending things. And at that point, the SPAC, which is essentially just a shell company with a boatload of cash that's going to merge that pile of cash into Trump's company, the shell company will have to return all of that cash back to its investors. But one of the sad things here is that if that happens, and it very well may, then these investors who are buying shares of the SPAC at prices as high as $175 per share, they're only going to get, less than $10 probably returned to them in cash. So they're going to end up with huge losses of all of these people who just got really excited about this idea of being in business with Donald Trump.
You said investors could lose tremendous amounts of money here. How are they feeling about Truth Social today?
Well, the truth is, a lot of people already have lost tremendous amounts of money. If you look at the prices at which Truth Social was trading in October and November of 2021, right after the idea of this thing came about, it was through the roof. Like I said, the highest that it ever traded was $175 a share, but they were exchanging at every number between there and where they are today, which is roughly $14. And so anyone who bought basically at any point has already lost money. And investors, it's interesting. Obviously, there are certain people who are, keeping the faith, but you've got to imagine that if you open up your account and see that you've lost, in some cases, 90% of your money, that you're not very happy about it. Even if you go on to Reddit, where a lot of this trading was being bantied about, in the same way that things like GameStop or any of those other meme stocks were trading, there's no longer much enthusiasm for the SPAC that's going to merge with Trump's company. It used to be that there were tons of posts from all these people hyping it up, super excited about it. I logged onto it last night just to see what people were saying, and it was crickets. Nobody just seems very enthusiastic about the thing at this point.